Welcome to the third dimension. The war in the Gaza Strip has reached a dangerous peak of regional expansion that threatens to spread hostilities throughout the Middle East. 9 months have passed since the start of the conflict, marked by the death of more than 38,000 Palestinians and the destruction of the infrastructure of the entire enclave. But now, there are fears that the conflict could spread to southern Lebanon and the closure of the strategic Red Sea route due to the attacks by the Houthis on merchant ships. On this front, the Houthis have launched attacks on ships bound for Israel or with Israeli owners since last November. The Houthis vowed that any country that is involved in the US-led international coalition in the Red Sea will lose its maritime security and be targeted. As a result, the main international shipping companies have avoided passage through the Red Sea towards the Suez Canal and have been forced to follow longer routes bordering Africa. According to experts, the situation in the Red Sea has the potential to become one of the most dangerous in the world, rivaling those in Ukraine and Taiwan. To discuss this topic, I am delighted to be joined by Mr. Nabeel, a senior international relations expert and Middle East analyst. Mr. Nagem, welcome to the program.
Thanks, Dr. Hassan, for having me.
Okay. Now, what is your assessment, Mr. Nagem, to the situation in Gaza after 9 months of ongoing Israeli war against the Palestinians?
It is really an inhuman situation. The situation in Gaza, it is an open-air prison. 2.3 the population, 2.3 million people, 80% of them have been displaced. And not only that, the Israeli army is hitting and bombing those refugees. The situation in Gaza is totally genocide and totally against any international law, and it is a big crime, and people who are involved in this crime supposedly are going to be judged in the criminal courts.
Okay, so within this kind of atmosphere, Mr. Nabeel, okay, intense diplomacy has been in place to push for a ceasefire in Gaza. And we know that President Biden outlined a proposal last May, a 3-phase proposal. The question is, what are the potentials of reaching a deal, Mr. Nagem?
Very slim, because the extreme right-wing Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, is not fighting Hamas. He is fighting his existence. He is fighting his seat. He is fighting to be a prime minister. Every time the mediator get to a point of settlement and a peace negotiation, he puts another unrealistic terms. The guy is directing the negotiations, and the guy is so much afraid of his destiny, which is going to be in courts, either in Israel or outside Israel.
Okay. Now, another issue within mediation efforts, Mr. Nagem, is the new realities that Israel has created by controlling Rafah crossings. Okay? And the same thing has been rejected repeatedly by Egypt. Just yesterday, Mr. Nabeel, New York Times said that Israel and Egypt have privately discussed a possible withdrawal of Israeli soldiers from Gaza's border. My question is, to what extent this new reality that Israel has created can affect Egypt and Israel peace treaty?
First of all, I would like to refer that Israel is an outlawed state. They don't abide by the international law. There were a Security Council Resolution 242 and 338 and 425, which asks Israel to withdraw from the occupied territories taken by Israel on the 5th of June war, 1967. Israel is not abiding by the law. And now the Camp David Peace Agreement has got two volumes. The first volume is the Egyptian issue. The second volume of Camp David is the Palestinian issue. Israel, the Prime Minister Ishaq Rabin, those days, 1979, signed the agreements, both of them. And Camp David Agreement has got some terms that Israel has got to withdraw from Gaza, total Gaza, West Bank, total West Bank, and in 5 years' time, an international referendum to define what is the future of the state of Palestine. Israel has not committed by that. And now they are coming to the crossing, Rafah crossing and Philadelphia. Egypt has said it clearly, we will not deal with the Israeli control of that eastern side. I think, and I believe very much, Israel is causing a lot of damage to the regional peace, and Israel is not maintaining its commitments in Camp David and other international laws. So I think it will shed a very dark shadow on the Israeli-Egyptian relations.
Okay, so within this context also, Mr. Nabeel, okay, the issue of what we call the day after in Gaza, there were proposals that Arab forces to govern Gaza, UN forces recently. The question is how practical those proposals are.
I don't like them. I don't like either of them. Hey, this is an occupied territory. Palestine is occupied by Israel. What are we talking about? The second day scenario. What is that? Why don't we talk about the two-state solutions? Nobody has got the right to intervene on the destiny of the Palestinian people, either in Gaza or in West Bank. It is a Palestinian issue. I don't like those waste-timing scenarios talking about Arab forces, UN forces. Why don't we give the Palestinian people the right to self-governing? They are not different from any other people. Why are we intervening in their issues? I think all these scenarios are just a waste of time and supporting the illegal existence of Israel. If we are talking about the security of Israel, what about the security of the Palestinian people?
Yes, okay. If we now could move, Mr. Nabeel, to the second main issue of this conversation, which is the fears of the expansion of the Gaza war. And we have seen that in southern Lebanon and in the Red Sea crisis. Okay? In fact, if we refer to the Red Sea crisis, some observers, Mr. Nabeel, said that the situation in the Red Sea has the potential to become one of the most dangerous in the world, rivaling those in Ukraine or in Taiwan. How do you react?
I do agree very much with such analysis, because what's going on in Yemen and the Houthis activities, and they do pretend that they fight with their brothers in Palestine. No, it's not right. I don't like their interference. They are implementing an Iranian agenda. And for your own information, there is a central operation room organizing the activities of Hezbollah, Houthis, and the Shiites in Iraq, the popular army in Iraq. So all these three are somewhat connected to Tehran. And now we are coming to a bigger issue, which is the Iranian strategy and the Western strategy. There is a sort of Cold War between both of them. Iran from one side, the America and Israel from the other side, and who is paying the price? The Palestinians and maybe other countries. What is going on in Yemen should be looked at very, very carefully. Houthis has got no right to control Yemen. They are a faction of the people. But what about the other Yemeni people? Two, Iran has got no right to encourage a separated group to have an upper hand over the other faction of the nation. I do think very much that the international law and the world system is not able to control the situation in Yemen, and the whole world is going to pay a heavy price. On the other hand, I would like to draw your attention to something I do believe in very much.
Yes.
The world order of Brighton Agreement 1945 is coming to an expiry date. Very close. We are very close to the expiry date of the world order, which came after the Second World War, USSR, USA, and the world was binary controlled world order. Now, what's going on in the Middle East is the beginning of new world order. There will be a big bill to pay, and I do believe very much the situation in Yemen, Iraq, Lebanon, and Palestine are not separated. They are linked together, and we have to be very careful. The situation could get out of hand easy, and it would have thrown the whole area into the oven of a big regional military conflict.
Yeah. Okay. So talking about this new world order, Mr. Nabeel, okay? And in fact, observers have talked about the emergence of what we call non-state actors, like the Houthis here, okay, on the stage. Now, in order to contain the Houthi threat, okay, there have been many international missions to protect maritimes in the Red Sea. My question is, why countries like Egypt, Saudi Arabia, or UAE distanced themselves from this coalition?
The answer is very simple. As I told you, this is an international Cold War, and it is between Iran from one side, USA and Israel and other Western countries from the other side.
Yeah.
And your question is quite valid, to be honest with you, but I think the minute these countries get involved in it, it's going to widen the mess. I believe very much the Security Council's main job is to keep stability, peace in the world. And nobody is moving because that body is not able to function. It is controlled by the veto right of one of those big permanent five members. And I believe very much that Saudi Arabia, Egypt, and UAE are all paying a price for that mess in the south. And for example, the Suez Canal has lost almost 65 to 70% of its income. The other countries are paying it in a different way. So I believe very much that USA should come to its responsibilities as a main player and go to Iran and tell them stop fueling the fire in Yemen.
Mr. Nabeel, we know that the US and the UK started bombing Houthi military capabilities in Yemen, okay, from last January. And they say the aim of such strikes is to weaken the Houthi capabilities. Do you think they have succeeded in doing so?
No, they have not succeeded, and they will not, because for me it's like a hide and seek game. And maybe sometimes I do think that maybe USA wants this heat and this fire to be on, because as I told you before, we are in the verge of a new world order. Maybe they want things to be hot and then liquid to help shaping the new world order.
Yeah.
By the way, where is the sovereignty of Yemen in such mess? Why don't the Western world and Western governments come and support the legitimate government of Yemen to enhance its existence and tell the Houthis, hey, listen, you are not alone in Yemen and you have no right to single out the destination of the Yemeni people. I do think that USA is not doing its job as a main player. Israel is a beneficiary of this situation, and Iran too. And who is the losers are the countries in this area.
Okay. So a final point, if you may, Mr. Nabeel. Amid all these developments, okay, what are the prospects of peace either in Gaza or there in Yemen?
The potential peace in Gaza and Yemen and Lebanon, Syria, Iraq, all these countries, and Libya, by the way, are linked to the international will and international law. As long as nobody is standing by the international law, as long as nobody is serving the legitimacy of the people and the right of people to define their destiny, and as long as Israel is messing about everywhere in the Arab world, I don't think that peace will come back to this area. So what we should do, I think Arab governments should forget their differences. Arab governments should come to one point, which is everybody is in danger. And as those failed states, Somalia, Yemen, Syria, Lebanon, Libya, and Iraq, others are on the way. So we have to stop that by getting together, unite our efforts to stand up and confront the big blot against the Arab world.
Okay, with that remark, we come to the end of this show, Mr. Nabeel. Thank you so much for talking to Yemen Today TV, and thank you for your time and insights.
Thank you.
That's all for this time. See you next week with a new edition of The Third Dimension.